morning, everybody. This is Meghan McGrogan with the Greater Utica Chamber of Commerce, and we are here for week 3 of our Leveling Up Social Distancing series. So whether you're tuning in while we're recording it or whether you're tuning in later, this is just a great way to get to know some of our local businesses and organizations, a great way to stay in touch with everybody during this pandemic that we're experiencing, and everybody's life is looking different. So this is a really nice way for you to stay in touch with our community businesses and organizations and get to know them a little bit better. And we hope that you tune into all the episodes. This is actually episode 13, I believe. So we've done quite a few of these to bring our members right to your living rooms and wherever you are working today. So thank you so much for joining us. And I'm really excited to have a guest with me. I know I say I'm excited for every guest because I really am excited for every guest. But Taylor Brose is with me from Innovation Collective. Taylor, welcome, and thanks for joining me today.
Thanks for having me. Happy to be here.
So Taylor, tell everybody about Innovation Collective and what your position is. You're a newer organization to the area, so I really want people to walk away from this and get what you guys are doing. Because you're doing some great things. So explain a little bit.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, so again, my name's Taylor Brose. I'm the Utica Community Manager of Innovation Collective. And we are an organization, we're going to be in about 6 cities at the end of the calendar year here. We're based out of Idaho, and Utica is sort of our first baby outside of sort of our petri dish of Coeur d'Alene, Idaho. And we are really interested in trying to unlock human potential at a really grassroots level in the communities and the cities that we go into. And so we, when we go into cities, we do sort of an extensive social mapping and try to find out what's the undercurrent, what are people talking about in relation to their feelings about the economic potential of a city, or just how they're feeling about where they live currently. Mm-hmm. And we try to organize a lot of events. So now we're going to be doing over 100 events now because we're on a digital format now, and we'll talk a little bit about that. But we really try to teach communities how to start acting like communities again and try to unlock human potential at a really grassroots level, like I said. So we bring out speakers to speak about their entrepreneurial endeavors in front of large audiences of people. Maybe you guys have been to some of our events before. And really, we try to create sort of a framework of social interlocking capacity and creative capacity with the people living in Utica. So we try to get people to sort of think, act, create, and do together. Mm-hmm. And we create this infrastructure where people say, hey, I've got this really cool idea. And we say, hey, well, I just talked to this other person who's got that really cool idea. And we link people together. Mm-hmm. And sort of the thinking is that if you create sort of a stronger framework in a community, and again, we like to go into communities like roughly 50 to 60,000 people. Mm-hmm. So like Utica, that if people start creating together, that you can create a stronger sort of economic infrastructure from the ground up and sort of lift, a rising tide sort of lifts all boats per se. So again, we started in September with our fireside chats, which are sort of monthly meetings, monthly speaker events. And then we've been rolling out a lot of digital events as a result of COVID-19. But so really just trying to get people aware of what we're trying to do. And, down the road, we're going to have some co-working space downtown. So we'll be looking at places where people can, show up to a building and sort of live, create, work, and play together. So I threw a lot at you. Sorry.
Yeah, no, that's great. And I think, your mission really nicely complements our mission, right? Which is to, make sure that people are, growing in their business, developing their business, connecting people. A lot of that networking comes into play here. So I think it's a great idea. And I know Chris and Heidi have been around for, how long have you guys been active in the community, would you say?
Well, we started our mapping well over a year ago. And then we really sort of hit the ground running in September of 2019. So, and I just came on board in February. So really trying to learn from them. Big shoes to fill with Chris. So
yeah. Yeah, so it's really nice to, have seen them really dive into this community. And I think it's really awesome from what they've said about Idaho and everything that's gotten off the ground there. So I think it's great to have you on board. And you guys are doing some really unique events. I know you've had some great speakers in the past at your fireside chats. And again, we talked earlier, and I haven't been able to make it to one of those, but I know they're always on my calendar, and it's tough with a lot of events at night. So I'm looking forward to tuning in because you guys have some digital opportunities coming up for people to stay engaged with you and interact. So tell us a little bit about those.
Sure. So we don't like to use the word pivot. I think we're trying to use the word that we're sort of adding a layer of what we aim to achieve in the communities that we're in. And honestly, I mean, let's face it, events like these, they really do challenge us to think differently. And I'm sure that you guys are experiencing a lot of that at the chamber as well. And everybody that we've been talking to in Utica is really trying to think differently. And so, you know, when you're a company that tries to build community by congregating groups of people and spaces, and that's really not that cool right now, you kind of have to figure out another way to do that. So, you know, a lot of what Innovation Collective also subscribes heavily to is that a lot of people just need a pat on the back, or they need somebody to hold their hand, especially through the early stages of an entrepreneurial endeavor. And we do a lot of that in person, and we do a lot of that, you know, remotely as well, and by connecting people across the country. But we also have this feeling that, you know, everybody's really an expert in something. And even if you're not an expert, you're probably better than the person next to you if it's something that you dedicate some of your time in your life to. And we're trying to use this as an opportunity, as everybody's sort of sitting at home in their living rooms, to call on community members to say, hey, and to call on business owners and say, hey, you know, you're an expert in something. Let's teach these other people how to do this. Oh, and by the way, if you jump on the Zoom call, we're going to be giving some prizes away and discounts on things to the companies and the businesses as well, to try to help them boost some of their clientele and traffic. So, you know, some of the things that we've done in the past, you know, we had Big Mike Morrill, Total Solutions, talk about small business resiliency. We did an oil change with Chris Cashin from Lincoln Garage, which was hilarious.
Yeah, I love that.
Yeah, and just, you know, just kind of changing it up, just really sort of everyday type of things that we've all got some time on our hands now, and maybe we can learn a thing or two from one another. And then coming up, we're going to be pouring drinks at the Steve tomorrow at 5 p.m. So Amanda, yeah, we'll see you there. Amanda and Michelle Classic, the bartender there, they're going to be pouring all the classic drinks from the Steve, and also showing you about the elements of what goes into creating your own cocktail. So when you have your friends over, when this thing lifts, you know, you can say, hey, this is you know, this is the Meghan cocktail. Check this.
That's really awesome. Now, is it Amanda O'Callahan? Is that who's doing it?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. We love Amanda. We know her really well. Yep.
Oh, cool. Yeah. And her husband, Steve, I don't know his last name, Carbo. Yeah. He seems like a colorful guy. So we'll get him on there too. And then, you know, this Wednesday too, we're going to be hosting a fireside chat with Rob Schauger of Confidata. So we're really excited about that. And that's at 6 o'clock. So check out Eventbrite today. Those details are going to go up. And also the private Innovation Collective Utica Facebook page is a good place to check out the events as well.
Nice.
So yeah, and he's also doing a huge conference in Syracuse in the fall called the No Bull 2020 conference.
I know, I want to go to that too.
Yeah, so it's really going to be exciting. And then on Thursday, during your lunch break at home, right? Because everybody's taking lunch breaks at home now. We're going to tune in with Jason Leonard from Whisk, and he's going to bake us something amazing. I'm not sure what yet. You're going to have to come.
That's awesome. I keep laughing at Jason. I think it was a couple weeks ago now, he posted something about macaroons, and for some reason it was deemed offensive and taken down.
Oh gosh, yeah, I saw that. Yeah.
And so he put something up the other day, and I was gonna comment like jokingly and saying like, "Oh, this is really offending me. Like, you need to take it down." But I'm like, I better not say that because maybe Facebook will see that and take it down. So I'm like, okay, no joking about this on Facebook.
Yeah. And then, you know, outside of that, Megan, I still hold like office hours on Mondays and Fridays, you know, at 10 o'clock each day. And it's been really interesting, I think, with the pandemic, because what I've been seeing a lot of in the sort of entrepreneurial creative space in Utica is a lot of people are really kind of dusting off some of those ideas that they had in their garage.
Yeah, we talked about that last week. Yep.
Yeah, it's really been fascinating. So I've been getting a lot of phone calls, you know, people asking me about feedback about, you know, certain concepts. I've been working with, you know, piggybacking with some of the things Ryan Miller's working on at the Thinkubator as well. We've hopped on a few calls together. So I think people are starting to say, hey, you know, I'm feeling a little bit uneasy about the economic climate right now.
Yeah.
I had this idea 6 years ago. I'm going to reach out and start asking people, you know, for their feedback about it. And so, you know, we entertain a lot of those discussions and try to connect people together who are you know, speaking the same language.
Well, I think, and you and I had talked about this last week a little bit. I think what this situation is really going to do is it's going to kind of maybe get people's creative juices flowing a little bit and be thinking about, okay, I've always wanted to do this. Now maybe I'm sitting around with a little too much time on my hands. So how can you make the best of it? How can you dust off that business plan that maybe you were thinking about, or that innovation you were thinking about doing, because we really do have a community of innovators around here that have come up with some really great things. So I think what you guys are doing to foster that is really crucial right now, if you think about it, because like you said, everybody's feeling a little uneasy, and maybe you're thinking, well, how could I set myself up for the future? So if this happens, maybe I'm in a little bit more of a comfortable spot. I mean, knock on wood, this is a leather chair, but it's on a wood frame. Knock on wood that this won't ever happen again. But I think that we're going to see people are thinking a little bit differently because of this. And I think it really, you do have to take a step back. It's a extremely difficult time for a lot of people, but there are silver linings in all of this. And I think, the ability to think creatively and outside the box is one of them.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think, it's really challenging to come together too, obviously, with social distancing. We kind of like to call it physical distancing because you can still be social on social media.
Yeah.
But it does make it challenging. And I think, this is challenging sort of the human spirit, I think, and the spirit of community, especially in Utica, which is, obviously our example. And so I think people are coming up with really creative ways to stay together. And I think, out of these crises, like you said, a lot of innovation comes out of these types of things. And people start to think differently and challenge themselves, which is really cool. So I'm glad you're seeing it too. I'm glad it's not just like a one view of what's going on. So it's really crucial that we try to stay positive and stay connected.
Yeah, I think it's awesome. And I'm really looking forward to the guests that you guys have coming on. And I would encourage everybody to check all of that out because it's a great way to stay in touch. And again, another layer, a complement to this, people are hopefully watching these and getting to know business owners and what they have going on and how they can be reached during this time. But I love the idea of the fun stuff with Michelle and Jay coming up, and even the oil change. That's great. I mean, maybe people don't know how to do an oil change, and now you're at home, and maybe it's a good time. Somebody I follow, Marie Forleo. I don't know if you've ever heard of her, but she has so the book, and I'm reading it right now. It's called Everything is Figure Outable. And so the whole kind of philosophy behind it is, you can figure out anything you put your mind to. So whether that be, doing an oil change or baking a cake or making a cocktail, and maybe you just feel like, God, I could never do that, or I don't know how to do that. Well, maybe now's the time to maybe get your brain working a little bit differently and figure out some of these things.
Yeah, we've all got some time in our hands now, and that's kind of the thought, and so, if anybody's listening to this, if they want to reach out, it's taylor@innovationcollective.co. If you've got a really cool idea, or you're an expert in something, or maybe just an amateur, but you think, the general public would benefit from hearing something that you have to say, then just reach out to me. We'd be happy to host some of your events and some of your skills online.
Now, Taylor, while you're on that, tell everybody how they can get in touch. I know you mentioned your Facebook page. You guys have a landing page of a website, right? So what's the best way for people to get in touch and reach out?
Yep. So you can sign up to our email group, www.icutica.com. And so if you just plug in your email there, you'll get all my really awesome emails that I write. And then you can also check us out on Facebook. It's Innovation Collective, and the group is the Utica Group. And we try to keep that as a private group because it's really sort of a resource for the community inside that group. So people, ask for advice on certain things, or, we'll post sort of tech links and events and things like that. So just reach out and I'll admit you. You can also post things in there too. So if you have an idea or you need feedback from somebody, you can hop into that group and post. So those are the types of things that we try to use and utilize that Facebook group for. Okay. And we're also, we try to post all of our events on Eventbrite, especially the Fireside Chat. So that'll be going up today with Rob Schauger, which is Wednesday at 6:00. And my email is taylor@innovationcollective.co. And you can reach out directly, and I'll probably get back to you same day.
Great. And people can tune in to, like we said, all of your events. So make sure you guys go check out that schedule. We will do our best to share them with this video. We'll post the links in the comments for everything going on this week, because there's a lot of great stuff happening. So Taylor, thank you so much for being on with me. I really look forward to sharing your stuff and tuning in myself. So thank you very much.
Great. Well, take care.
Have a good day.
You too.